Hey everyone, welcome to my video. This video is going to be for SolidWorks beginners. It is going to cover all sketch commands and how to work on 2D models before to enter 3D modeling. Let's start then by explaining our commands and how to start to sketch. When you open a new part document in SolidWorks, this screen going to shown, and on the left, on the right, and on the top of our screen there is some commands. Like in the world, SolidWorks also have 3D dimension, which is in our feature tree shown here, front, top and right plane. By choosing one of these, and with this pop-up menu, you can start on working on sketches, or just by choosing plane from our sketch menu, we can also start here sketch. As you see, our origin now on this in the middle of the screen, and it is shown red. This means we are having an open sketch now, where you can close by this the icons. I am also showing another way to start a sketch by choosing front plane and simply choosing a sketch tool, also going to allow you to start a sketch. As you see now, our origin is red and our icons here, which is for the first is for our sketch is okay and I want to keep it. The other is like a cancelling without saving sketch, it is closing the menu. The very basic starting command, starting things in sketch: line, circles, and our center rectangle, 3-point arc kind of commands. Let's then start by a basic line tool. In SolidWorks, when you before you start to work, you should think about your sketch, where it should be, like in the middle of your origin or in the corner. This is so important. As you see in the screen down below, you are seeing your dimensions, so how far you are from the origin, and that's important. SolidWorks wanna know exactly where you are in the according to the origin. You should define it, and that's going to allow you to have fully defined sketches. For example, when we draw here a circle, the circle type 1, as you see, first is center and the second is the outer diameter somewhere at SQ. When I gave a dimension for this circle, normally we can define one circle, just one dimension, which is the outer diameter. But as you see here, my sketch is now below, which is means underdefined. As you see here, SolidWorks asked me to give my point, center point or outer and an edge point to origin. That's important for SolidWorks. And when you see that, when you added these dimensions, as you see on the screen, our sketch is black. That is fully defined, and then that means you can go to 3D models, starting with 3D models. That's why important. When we are making drawing our models, there comes a time that you wanna change the dimensions or you wanna make the revisions. If you are not giving fully constraints on your sketches, on your diameters, lines and whatever from to the sketch, when you change the main dimensions of your model, everything going to stay like the earlier stage. If you are not giving any constraints according to your model, these dimensions, these dimensions will not follow your changes, and that will create problems in the feature tree. I am going to also show this example. by also fully defining of your sketch without a dimension, it is simplest way to point it to origin. As you see, in origin it is fully defined now. And yeah, we are deleting this. Now I am starting by a point from my origin, and just the dimension where I wanna go, I am bringing my mouse there and sketch my lines continuous follow me, and I just simply create one closed contours. As you see, two line is now somehow black, but the end point is not black. That means they are in a direction, but that ending point is not defined. By just having a smart dimension command, you can just take a line in the middle of the line, you can choose, or by taking two line you can define a dimension of the line, or by taking a 2 point also you are able to define the dimensions of the line. And last going to be this dimension, which is also going to be 50. I set the SolidWorks. As you see, my model is fully defined and I gave all the dimensions. For example, if I wanna move this group of objects from the origin, by clicking origin, program shows me on the left menu what kind of relations I gave to the sketch. There is a distance and there is a coincident relationship, and I am deleting by simply clicking my relation, and now I am able to move my model from the origin. As you see that when I move from the origin, my group of sketch, my here this drawing is not anymore fully defined. SolidWorks again wanna know the relation between origin and the lines, distance, or any other kind of possible scenarios. By simply clicking a line, you can make it a construction geometry by simply changing here. This also in our line properties menu in the left, here you can see. And for example, when I show you this simple 2D sketch group, I want to also show mirror. Which is so simple. In the first option, asks me which entities I want to mirror. Simply by selecting all my line group, I am choosing my mirror axis. It is simply by this way done. Generally, sketch commands is so easy in SolidWorks to understand, to get command on it. It's also so important to have good control in the general in the program, because we are using sketch so much. That's why so important. I think you should, when you have this good command and when you have fully understanding of sketch, the other parts of SolidWorks will go so easy. By simply again selecting all objects, I am deleting my sketches. Now I am going to show some other objects and what kind of relations we can give them. I am going to use three circle, which is randomly pointed in a screen. One going to be in the middle of my origin. I am giving as a diameter 60 millimeter, and this going to be, let's say, 35. By defining the relation SolidWorks, you don't need to give the same objects 2 times the dimensions. This is easy way of the defining, and also your sketch going to be so clear in the screen, because when you give so much unnecessary dimensions, after a while you are not going to be able to understand which line is which diameter to belong to which sketch. Sometimes we are working also so complicated sketches. By control button from your computer, from your keyboard, by pressing control button and choosing two object which is drawn in the screen, you can give relation, equal relation. There is also another relations which also we are going to look later of this. This is by just control button from your keyboard, and then you choose two object. And for example, I wanna make all three objects points, center points, in the same horizontal direction. As you see that, simply I gave these dimensions a relation. Now I am adding one construction geometry by line and just simply changing it to construction. I am also again choosing pressing my control button and two object and one construction line. Also program allows me to give symmetric relationship. And now the only thing what I should do now, define total length of the 2 point. This is 120 millimeter. Now as you see, everything is fully defined and black. I am going to add now tangent relationship. Simply I picked from here one line, and when it is in the option as sketched, I am drawing here. And now by control again I am choosing two objects. Now there is a tangent object, tangent relation shown here. SolidWorks also understanding the logical possible relation what you can give the objects. Again a tangent. As you see also these are defined, points are not defined. As you see they are moving. We are going to make trim. Simply by trim command we are cutting them, and I want to create one more construction line, center line, let's say, to be able to mirror the objects. This is going to be mirrored by this center line, and again these two objects going to be mirrored by this line. You could also draw half. That everything is possible. There is so much variant in SolidWorks to draw a sketch. When I am choosing trim, I am using power trim, which is cutting by direction of your mouse where you move it. And I am going to also send these two objects and these unnecessary parts of the sketch. Now as you see some things is lost. We are going to fix it, don't worry. We are just clicking the sketch and understanding what is have been lost, and you see there is no here a tangent. I gave tangent, it is already black now, and again a tangent, and here also tangent relationship. As you see it is fully now defined the black sketch. I am also adding in this two center diameters by control, again adding equal relationship, and I'm saying this is going to be 20. I am also having another way of the trimming version which I'm going to show you. Also you don't need to trim in SolidWorks to make things for 3D. There was a new option in some couple of years before they added in SolidWorks. As you see my sketch is now fully black and everything is done. Now simply by picking a feature from here, for example extrude both space, and in the middle options which is going to be to both sides, Z minus and Z plus side going to be divided 20 by 10 10. It is simply done. As you see, I am deleting object, and now my sketch here, and I am also deleting it. We are going to look other things. For example, when we draw two circles in SolidWorks, simply I can change the construction geometry. I am going to give 100 millimeters outer diameter, and this is going to be 75. We are also able to make patterns easily in sketches also, as you also have in the 3D models, but to make it not complicated my feature tree, I am always trying to simplify all the sketches as soon as possible, as much as possible. I draw here one again construction geometry, and I am adding here one circle and giving a dimension about 12, and as you see, everything is black now. I am going to just make a pattern, circular sketch pattern, which first asks me to point where it's going to be, the center of pattern will be, and later entities to pattern. It says you equal spacing means when you give the numbers, that's going to divide 360 by the number of the elements how you wanna pattern, and it is going to show automatic. It is going to determine automatic between the angles. You don't need anything, and by just clicking OK, your model is done. But as you see now, our the pattern is not fully defined, and then you just a little bit move it and take it back the pattern point to your origin. Now everything is, as you see, fully defined. This is somehow one flange now, and I'm going to have 50 millimeter diameter also in the middle. As you see, it is simple. By sometimes what I'm doing also, by instead of giving another circle or drawing another circle, sometimes if I know the outer dimension exactly, I am making offset 100 millimeter from one side is 20 millimeter, going to create for me automatically inside 50 millimeter also circle, which is easy way. This is also possible, as you see. Now I'm also deleting this one. It is so useful to also always use the rectangles. Instead of drawing 4-time line, you can use many different rectangles. For example, if you try the first one, the model like what I draw in the first step, we can have something like simply like this, as you see, just by deleting unnecessary ones, and simply you can give the dimensions 100, let's say here also 150, and for example, let's say this is going to be 50 by 50. You don't need to give any dimension. By control again, you can just give equality relation, and it is automatically defined. Even you can give also here that equality will be everything just 50 millimeter, 50 50 50, everything is 50, as you see. It is quite simple. Let's add some radiuses, which is so simple. Again, it is just asking you 1 point or 2 line to give equation to radius, and then you can give here for each dimension, each fillet dimension, to be able to change as you want. Like this is going to be 15, but this is going to be 10, as you see. Now there is a problem in the relation which shown because of I made this 3 line to equal relationship. Now this dimension is not anymore 50 millimeter, as you see, because it is defined in the length of this line. Now by adding these two radius value, this dimension has changed. For that reason, now we should define it again. Sometimes by knowing I made this mistake here to show you what can be as a mistake when you use this. Sometimes we should use these relations in a logical manner to make it our works easy. Or if you use that equations, better you gave these radiuses in the 3D model instead of 2D model, because then all thing is getting easier than the what you have now here. Chamfer also, if you are going to talk about chamfer also, like the here it is simple. You just should choose 2 point. Also there is here one way, angle and distance you can have option, and distance to distance by 10 by 10 kind of. This can be different, like 10 by 5, and then going to be different chamfer. As you see, there is this kind of options also sometimes we are using. Now there is something which is undefined. Program don't know this highness, and simply we can give our dimension here 50 millimeter, and it is again fully black. Yes. Now I am going to show other options by choosing from plane, and I'm starting a sketch again. And what kind of commands I have here more I'm going to show. Firstly, I'm also defining one more circle which is in the origin by 100 millimeter dimension. I have slot options. There's 4 different type of slot. Because of my part is now circular, I'm going to use 2 option. This first one, without a center by itself, creating a slot, as you see. Also you can follow here steps, just 1 starting point and 2 ending point, and 3 the center of somehow your slot, and 4 the diameter of slot. In 4 steps, 4 mouse click you are going to finish it. Program says you that. You gave it here, and as you see it is now undefined. First I'm going to give the dimension. I'm saying it is 5 millimeter, and to define the angle between 2 points, we should also create somehow the helping lines to us, and I gave it here 2 line. This, let's say 70 degree, and now program asks me which is my middle diameter. Then I am saying it is 35. As you see, there is one thing also which is undefined. What is it? This is 70 degree, but we don't know the where is it exactly. As you see, it is easily turnable. Then I am saying my program, this semi-point between my origin is vertical, by adding just simply with control this relationship. As you see, it is now fully defined. The other center point arc slot, which is starting by center, as you see here, and then secondly asks me starting point of slot, ending point of slot, and now my slot diameter. Yeah, now let's give firstly our slot diameter, which is radius 4. This diameter I'm saying going to be 45, let's say 40, and we don't need to give only the lines. Also, if it is proper, you can just simply give again with the control by clicking this point and this point. Vertical, it's not there, sorry, just a line. When I draw a line from point to point, there it is there anymore. And again this point and this point I can define here with one sketch. As you see, it is now fully defined. Yeah, this is in case of it is 90 degree. It is not, then also you can use this way to give to line, and then giving that lines, helping lines some degrees, which is also going to define your model. The straight slot, it is a simple one, which is starting from one side of slot with ending point, and the same relations again you see here, 1 2 3. The second one, it is starting from center. I'm using this much, and you define the dimension. Everything is like a mirrored object. It says it's 12, and when you gave this is 40. It is now fully defined. It is quite easy to handle with that. We have also here arcs. Now we are going to work with arcs. Let's delete our object from the screen simply. Now I am going to create two circle. Now I'm going to show my way. Simply, when I draw something which is going to be in the middle, I am picking a line and converting this construction geometry, and then by choosing line and choosing the point, I am also having a midpoint relation, which is going to be always midpoint of this line. Because of I started so long years before by drawing this kind of technical drawings by hand, it was the rule of the using always center line. This is a habit. Also, you can use these center lines in your drawings also. That's quite useful. For that reason, I recommend you to use as soon as possible construction lines. That's not affecting anything in the program, also giving you so much flexibility when you are making montage, assembly. In any case, you can use center lines. This is 150 millimeter. I'm having here two again circle, and which control we are adding a relationship. Also, this is shown up simply here when you choose. You saw where it's lost. It is here, make equal says, and they are going to be 80 millimeter, and we are creating here one up, one more, which will not be the same diameter. We are giving the dimension of 100, and the distance between origin and center of the circle. Simply, I am here adding with the arcs, 3-point arcs. I'm using so much. In the empty area, I'm just leaving them. Again, you should follow the rule here: 1 starting point, 2 ending point of the radius, and third is the who is going to determine the radius value of it. And again, we are using our relations. Now I am choosing two object, tangent and tangent. We could mirror, but I'm not going to give the same dimensions. Tangent, again tangent. This is also going to be tangent with these circles. Now we are cutting unnecessary parts before defining the values. That's going to be easier. And here and here, as you see, everything is done. I'm going to define the values. This value is going to be 70, this 100, and this 50. As you see, it is now black and everything is defined. Let's say you change your mind and then you're gonna make it the same. Simply you are deleting your dimension. and giving equal relationship. Now everything what you need you have. And another thing I'm going to show, around of your model there is three circle. I'm choosing three of all of them and giving equal relationship, and now simply moving these circles to points with giving the dimensions of them. They are fully defined. Or you can just choose 2 point by control, and it is again now, as you see, fully defined. There is so much different options in adding relations. You can also, by using time, you can also develop your own way of handling with that. For that reason, as soon as possible, I want you to make some examples and some sketch tutorials which are going to develop your skill. And now this model also is done. I'm going to show you without deleting this object to make extrude. When our sketch is fully selected, by just choosing the contours, you are able to make fully extrude, as you see here. Also, if you don't like that mess in your screen, if you think like that, always there is possibility to trim that once. But then you have this problem. Then what I am doing, I'm going to show my way. We have an option here which is split entities. You can simply split it, the lines or the dimension or the circles by points, and I am converting the unnecessary area to center line, and which is not, I am not anything making any trim. That allows me to have fully defined sketch. But here now something lost, we are going to look it. And also here split entities, again with 2 point, I'm splitting my dimensions, and now we are looking, this have lost simply, and everything is now same. But now when I want to make the extrude, program is not asking me anything because there is not any area. Everything is in a fully one sketch. We are going back to our sketch and opening another sketch. We have also other options for linear pattern, but which I'm going to show you that. Firstly, I'm having a center rectangle which is starting by center, and this is going to be a rectangle, and I should define 2 dimensions of it, 100 by 150, 1500 happened, and I am giving here fillet in the 4 corner. Everything is done. I am going to add one center, one circle in the origin, which is 15 millimeter, and we are going to make pattern of that. Linear sketch pattern program asked me, and here now we have automatic dimension directions. You don't need to define direction. If you want, you can define between 2 object. It asks me the center dimension. I'm saying 20, and I'm gonna have 4 in the y-axis. Also I wanna have 4, let's say, or 3. We are going to understand by giving dimensions. 2 is better by 30 millimeter dimension. It is simply patterning my object. When you gave this when you make pattern, generally sketch is becoming undefined, then the simple thing is adding some construction lines and also adding some dimensions, which is here 20, which is here 30, because it's not only enough to give dimensions, also you should show the direction, if this point with this point is same horizontal, same direction or not. That's also important for a program. Already we have one center line here. I'm going to use and mirror the other ones, and mirror object, this object going to be mirrored by this sketch. And now this time we are going to mirror the other ones around, other way around in the y-axis. As you see, it is simply done in our screen. This also can be done in simply in 3D model, but here also we are able to make it simply. And this is also done, and we have some couple of objects more I should define, which is offset. Again, with my way, I am having a line here and bringing it with relation in the middle point and turning it to construction line, and I am choosing offset. This offset value is the value from one direction, and by reverse you can change the dimensions. By bidirectional you can add the second the side also. By adding caps you are also allowed to add caps on your line. If you want by lines, you can make closed rectangle or a slot kind of form. As you see, it is with one line you have so much thing. If you don't want to give the center dimensions, also with shift, if you choose two object, especially circles or semicircles, you are also allowed to give the outer dimension. I want also you know that there was one other option there. This could be instead of now it was here one construction line. This could be one normal line, which by construction geometry, if I'm choosing base geometry here, it is automatically converting my geometry to the construction line. That's also a feature of this command. We have also move entities, which is you are able to move, copy and rotate of the models. That's also can be useful in I wanna take it back and if you have in many programs this exists, if you have one line which you wanna exactly to connect with the other one with adding another, without adding another things, by extension you can simply by choosing two line you can extend. And here again I used one construction line. When you have construction line and two line, by just passing by the area, by three object, you are also without control, you are also allowed to give the symmetric equation, symmetric relation. Here going to be 75 and this is going to be again 100, let's say. Trim entities I'm going to talk about. There is 5 different trim option, which is the most useful one. I'm using this one, which is just by simply the direction of your mouse where it goes cuts. This is creating corners, inner or outer. You can just select, it simply cuts out the another direction. These ones using by when you have many lines passing through the two area. And this is also another way to just by clicking like the old programs have. If you used before AutoCAD, you will also recognize it simply. This is also another way of making the using of this trim tools. 80mm I'm going to change by simply adding some other radiuses. I'm going to make a little bit better part, handsome part I'm saying. Also to center points I am adding two circle and giving the equal relationship and giving them dimension. Here also we have polygons, which is by the number of the parameters you are able to create how much you want. 4, if you make 4, simply you have a square, as you see. By just clicking on your object, you are also here allowed to edit the polygon instead of just deleting it, simply by changing this way. This is important. When you click on an object, that is properties of the line, it is shown up here. And for patterns I'm using so much this by just selecting that one and coming here, pattern, and edit polygon. I'm choosing for example 5 corners, and you can also define the outer circle, inner circle here, as you see options. It is so simple. You should a little bit take time and look our command have as a option. That's all useful. Sometimes you really need it in case of needs. Also you are able to have points and ellipse, also parabola, conic, everything else again so simple. When you choose ellipse, just you choose 2 point and 3. Yeah, for defining one ellipse, for example, if you are going to bring it in the origin, it is not only enough to give the dimensions, also program going to ask you simply, for example, the directions of the points, like this. When you make it vertical, it's simply fully defined. These are little tricks. By the time they make examples, you are going to have it. It is simple. Also we have other sketch tools, which is under our tools sketch entities. You see, you are not seeing everything is here, but it is simple to edit here. Also, if you want, you can customize these buttons. Also, you can edit here another objects what you want to use. For example, customize command bar, and you are in sketch, and from here you are finding sketch options. For example, sketch commands. I am choosing sketch. If there is not some things here what you are mostly using, you can also from simply here to move it here. As you see, it is just by clicking the button. And yeah, I think mostly we have it sketch tools here, and here also there's other explode sketch features kind of things. Yeah, commands, sketch commands again here, mouse gestures. Also you can arrange here 8 and 4 gesture, which is unintentionally sometimes I'm using by clicking your right mouse button and pressing it. When it's pressed, when you move, you automatically also have here some most usable tools. By you can change also these ones. when you are in features, they are also changing. And I'm thinking what I didn't talk about. I have here convert entities and intersection curve, which is used in fact in the 3D model. Let's make extrude boss base at I'm saying 10 millimeter. For example, without drawing a contour outer dimension, I just want to have the all out lines. By just clicking the convert entities, automatically I am having these lines, and again offset, one directional offset, reverse, and I'm saying for example 2 millimeter. The option was there was open base geometry. I'm not gonna have that. Yeah, we have it here, as you see, 2 line, and for example I wanna cut them in 5 millimeter. Simply this command is using for this kind of needs. That's very useful command. Instead of drawing everything, you are simply copying all the sketches what's there. That is very useful. Yeah, the things about sketch, simply going like that. Let's make one last example, and then to finish video. We are going to create one again with circles. Going to be here one circle, going to be here one circle. Simply with control we made all them horizontal, and we added one construction geometry, and we select 3 of all and make symmetric. Program going to ask me center dimension and outer dimension of the object. Going to be, let's make it bigger, and adding here one line, and let's connect this 2 point with a line. Adding tangent relationship, we are deleting these ones and just giving the radius of the arc as a 200 millimeter. Also, to make it a little bit looking like nice part, we added 2 time here a circle 50 millimeter, and now we can maybe cut unnecessary parts without losing the sketch relationship. It is now done, and yeah, it is simply done. As you see, in handling with SolidWorks in sketches, it is quite easy, and yeah, you don't need to do anything special, you don't need to have so big skills, but you should get used it. I think it's not going to take so long time. You can also find on internet quite much material to work in sketches. For example, this is a good example. I'm having a sketch which is now on the top of my part. I want to convert this 2 line also by control, choosing 2 object and convert entities. I want to create in both sides 5 millimeter, this kind of feature. Instead of mirroring this is 2 times, what I could make, I'm going to show you. Front plane mirror, this was the feature. As you see, I'm having in both sides. Instead of making this much work, I could create this sketch in the middle of my model and then giving a dimension. This was 20 and I make it here 5 millimeter extrude, and in both sides will be in total 30 millimeter, and simply I am changing my sketch plane to plane which is passing through in the middle. As you see, it is here, and now I am making here middle option and 30 millimeter. Now we have the result what we have been doing by mirroring. SolidWorks have this kind of little tricks. As I told you, by the time when you are using it, you are going to have this kind of things. Keep practicing and keep watching videos. I'm going to